All right, heading into the office. It's rainy today, so big surprise for Seattle area, but it says it's going to be like a 50-minute drive, which I'm really hoping is not the case, because that sucks. Because it's already after 9. It's like 20 after 9. Usually they get into the fast lane or whatever, and I can cut down like 20 minutes. So I'm hoping that's what it is today. But given that it's rainy, even though it always rains here, I feel like people are going to be worse at driving today. Just kind of expecting the worst on that. But we'll see. So this morning I was supposed to do a podcast interview, and the guy never showed up, unfortunately. This is probably, not with this individual, but probably the 4th or 5th time this has happened to me, which is really unfortunate. I suspect in this case, like, it happens, like, you schedule these things out for a while, and if you're not doing this kind of thing actively, like, I need to be looking at my schedule to see when I have podcasts and stuff coming up to record. If you're not actively participating or hosting them or whatever, then it's super easy to just be like, oh crap, like I forgot about it. So it happens. But yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. I didn't really miss out on much this morning because of it, which is fine. So last night I did a podcast with someone who was traveling, and they were in France, so they were in Paris, I think. And so I took that one pretty late. So not like super late. It was like 10:45. So I got to bed just after midnight, which is totally cool. But it meant, like, because I've been doing CrossFit at 6 in the morning, like, I've been waking up at 5, and if I'm going to bed at midnight, I'm not waking up at 5 to go to CrossFit. So kind of planned it so that I would do that one and then sleep in a little bit and then do this other podcast for this morning. But like I said, unfortunately, that didn't pan out. So didn't miss the gym because this podcast got canceled. But so I was already at home, whatever. So try to chip away at a couple of BrandGhost things. So, like, one thing that we're trying to do, touch on like some technical details, I guess. So when you're posting stuff to social media, depending on your experience with posting to different platforms, generally the way that you do this is like in your app or on a web page or something, right? You want to post media, you open up a browser on, like, a file browser on your phone, or a file folder browser on your computer. Go select whatever you want, or you drag and drop it, whatever, but you have the exact file or files. Now, that's great. That's a pretty, like, common user experience. When it comes to APIs, though, for posting to social media, there's like 2 major flavors that I see. And one is that you tell the social media provider, so like Instagram or Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, whatever, you tell them when you're making an API call, here is the URL where my resource is. And then their server, when it's handling the request, will go pull from that URL, right? Okay, so pretty straightforward. It's just not the traditional way that you would do it if you were using the application directly. Now, these social media providers also, like, almost always provide the alternative approach, which is like a streaming API. So you have the bytes for the media that you want, and then you will be streaming those over to the server. So it's like 2 major flavors, right? You give it a URL, or you are streaming bytes to their server. Now, the streaming approach also has a couple of, like, sub flavors, and one is just like you basically start streaming bytes, and you just keep writing while you have this connection open. And that seems like I haven't written these social media APIs, right? I've never been on the other side of it, so I haven't put too much thought into this, but that seems like it's kind of like a little bit more of like a legacy approach. And I suppose the idea behind that is like again, I'm speculating here, but I suspect it's because as media becomes larger and larger, so, you know, maybe before when we were uploading videos to like Facebook, it used to be like you'd have smaller videos, not only in terms of length, but file size. So if it failed, like whatever, you'd redo it. But now you'd be uploading content that's a lot bigger. And if you were to just stream it, kind of like a naive implementation of just like take the bytes and keep writing them over, if you lost connection, you'd just have to redo the whole thing. So you're in the same situation as before, right? But with larger media, I suspect they said, hey, this is kind of like a usability issue. I'm sure there was data collected or whatever to get people to kind of switch to a different style here, but this second flavor is like you are responsible for chunking up the data that you send over. So usually how this looks, and again, it's kind of different between platforms, is sometimes you need to tell the other side, here's how big my media is, and I'm going to be sending over chunks of this size, and then you make different requests with each part of the chunk, and this ideally gives you like some type of like resumable concept. So if you happen to lose connection and you needed to go re-upload data, you could write your client such that it could go restart the upload, restart it from like the last point where it had messed up type of thing. So I think that's why a lot of these have kind of moved that direction. I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm speculating. So there's a handful of different flavors. Now, to kind of explain our technical side of things, the easiest thing to get up and running as a platform is just having fewer things going on. So for us, it's like if we don't have to worry about hosting files and stuff, it's pretty convenient. It's just one less thing to build. So we started everything in BrandGhost by having URLs to your media. So if you want to post text, super easy. The text is obviously just in our platform, whatever. We'll store it in a database. But if you have media that you want to post, or like, we don't want to be in the business yet of hosting media. Like that's just a whole other set of challenges to go build for. But now we're at the point where like just expecting that people are going to host all of their own content is like kind of a usability problem. And you kind of got to think about the evolution of some of these things, right? So with BrandGhost, modeling it after how I've been building things out, I have all of my content hosted somewhere, right? I had been using a system that was kind of ad hoc before BrandGhost that needed to be able to access my media. And now BrandGhost, as we've been building it, follows the same pattern. It's like, tell me where your files are. I will go pass them along to... sorry, I just was trying to read a message while driving and vlogging, so it popped up as a notification. So BrandGhost will currently ask for the URL. Oh man, this traffic is awful. And that's just modeling it after the existing behavior. So that's fine. But we are reaching this point where it's kind of awkward that if we're onboarding people's content and we're like, oh, hey, by the way, like, I don't know what you were doing before, but go make sure that all of your media has public URLs to them so that we can access them. Because what we're doing behind the scenes is taking the approach where if we have a URL, we can either just give that to the social media provider so they can do the streaming, right? It offloads the downloading on our server, or we basically will, on our server, stream chunks of your media and like basically be the intermediary where we're streaming the chunks and then writing them out to the server. So we don't have to download a whole file ever. but we would allocate some memory to be able to like take the chunks and send them over as chunks. So we need to be able to start hosting people's media, which is it's a solved problem, but we have to go build it. So that's kind of what I'm starting to look at now, is like Azure Blob Storage. If you're not familiar with Azure Blob Storage, then like S3 buckets in AWS, same idea. Oh, this is so bad. This stretch of highway says there's literally 15 minutes of traffic added on Google Maps, and like I was saying this the other day, I'm in the fast lane. I can guarantee I'm paying, because the price varies, I can guarantee I'm paying max price because it's slow, and I'm gonna be stopped in a moment, like I just was. I was literally parked in the fast lane paying money to be here. So I'm already not having a great morning, so I'm not super stoked, but yeah, the Azure Blob Storage part, I've done it with AWS. So with Meal Coach, we were designing features where you could upload your progress pictures so that your coach would be able to have access to those. So we've built that to be able to upload. We've done that so that the client can pull down the pictures as well. I've done a couple of things like this even for my blog. Again, this is with Amazon, but I was paywalling some content on my blog at one point, and the way that the plugin for WordPress worked was that I could upload my content to S3, and then when people needed to access the page, they would have like basically a time limit to start watching the video, and then that would get streamed down to the browser. So the idea there was that your stuff is in Azure Blob Storage, and you can kind of in that case it was S3. So it's in some type of blob storage, whether it's AWS, I don't know what Google's is, Azure, and you have binary data there, and you now need a URL to it. And you can have like different clients for this type of thing, so depending on the client, they might, I don't know, like abstract all of this away, and you can just get like a streaming API to it, or download and get a byte array, like whatever it happens to be. But in some cases, and it depends on the situation, right? In some cases, you might say, I need a URL to this file. So you create a situation where, like, I guess you might call it like a lease or like a time expiry URL, where you ask the blob storage, again, whatever platform you're using, you're saying, for this blob, I would like a URL to it, and I would like, and then you can kind of add these constraints, like I'd like it accessible from, people authed with this, or it's public, and it will expire after X period of time. So you can configure these different things. Now for us, I'll have to figure out, like, on our server side, if that even matters. Like we'll make it auth, let's say, but I'll need to figure out on the server side, and maybe I need to support multiple variations, but do I need to be able to get a URL, or do I need to stream it? Because there's some platforms, I told you the URL versus like chunking approach. Those are the two major approaches I see across these, but I don't think all of them support both. And I say that without having the list of them in front of me and like the code in front of me, but I say that because I had to implement both variations throughout this process so far. So I think some of them have both, and some have one or the other. And I think that's going to mean that if we're using blob storage, I will need supporting of URLs. So given a blob, give me a URL to it. I will take that URL and give it to the social media provider. And then the other approach is, given some blob resource, like, let me start streaming it, because I now need to go take those chunks and stream them to the social media provider. So I think I'll probably need both. So you got to build that. But here's the other thing, like, it's not just as simple as having the content in blob storage, because now you have to think about the user experience for that, right? So easy for me is one of the developers on this, because for my own content, like, a lot of the time I skip the user interface because I'm already in the code and I'm building out how I want to post my social media content, like by directly talking with the database and this kind of thing. So when I'm on the go, I absolutely use the website on my phone, and I'll write up some posts and stuff like that. But if I'm creating stuff from scratch, sometimes I'll just like a whole topic stream to go post. Sometimes I'll just do that directly in code, because like I have it all open on my computer anyway. So the user experience is going to be kind of weird. Well, sorry, I don't mean the resulting experience will be weird. Hopefully it's not, but kind of an interesting challenge we have to think through, because we probably need to build like a file explorer, right, for our content, or sorry, for your content that we are hosting for you. So if you upload a picture and you want to use it in a topic stream, or for a piece of content in your topic stream, you probably want to be able to see it, select it, and say, use this picture. But like, what happens when you have multiple pictures? So now you have 10 pictures, 100 pictures. When you're adding content, you probably want to be able to see that. Now, alternatively, what this could look like is, again, I have to think about the UX, and we haven't built it yet. Alternatively, maybe all that it is when you're creating a content entry in BrandGhost. So you're saying, okay, I have a topic stream that posts these days at these times, and it's going to be picture posts. You have that created. Now you're saying, I want to add a new piece of content to post. Directly at the time when you want to go create that piece of content, then you could go upload the picture. And then only when you want to go modify your content or whatever, or view your content, that's when we would pull that down from Blob Storage through our server, either as a URL to give to the front end, probably, just to save on downloading bytes. So we might not even need like a browser for it. So even if you wanted to use the same picture, we might just basically not show you a browser for it at all. So if you needed two pieces of content that were identical for the picture, you just have to upload it again. That might be like the most trivial way to do it, least amount of overhead, because going to build like a file explorer and then manage your pictures and all that, like that might be a pain in the butt. But then that makes me think, again, maybe this makes it easy. When you delete a piece of content, so you're like, I don't want to post this post to like LinkedIn and Facebook anymore, like get rid of it, that if we know that it's associated with a picture, for example, if we know that only one piece of content in our platform can be mapped to that binary resource, then we don't have to worry about, oh, is anyone else using this? Is it okay? We would just say, delete it from blob storage as well. So, maybe just trying to hyper focus on simplicity is the way to go here. So, I have to go through this thought exercise with the team and make sure that we can think about the right way to do it. But it's kind of what I'm thinking at a high level. I was distracted because I saw another message come in. The guy who missed the podcast this morning, he just sent me a message and it popped up on my phone. I think there was a problem with the invite or something. I'm not going to read it while I'm driving, but I just saw it pop up. So that sucks. But I hate being in this position now where this happens all the time. I'm not saying I've never texted while driving, of course, but especially in a situation like now where there's traffic and it's stop and go, like I'm not going to be pulling out my phone for anything. But I hate when I have seen something like this, because I'm like, I want to respond to him to make sure we can just, connect and be like, hey, it's all good, and figure out next steps. But like, I'm not doing that while I'm driving. So now I have to hold it with me, which sucks, but that's okay. So according to Google Maps, in like 10 feet, the traffic stops. Apparently there's an accident, but we'll see. I don't believe it, to be honest. I bet you it's going to go further. Oh, you know what? No. It's trying to tell me to get off the highway because it's going to be faster, but the problem is that it's hard to trust Google Maps for this highway for timing, and it's because it doesn't factor in the fast lane. So if there is an accident and it's slowing everything down, it doesn't always affect the fast lane. So sometimes it's no issue at all for the fast lane. Actually, most of the time it's no issue at all. And then there's some rare exceptions, like right now, where it's awful. Because like what? It's been 20 minutes already. I don't know if I'm halfway to work yet. So just stupid, but they really they got to do something about this road. Yeah, like good luck. But this is why driving to the office sucks. There was a comment on one of the last videos, and it was like, oh, at least you get to drive a nice car and go fast. And it's like, sometimes. Not when you're sitting in this stupid lane going 30 miles an hour. Can't go very fast. I can go loud, but not fast. But yeah, that's how it is. So yeah, BrandGhost will be doing the blob storage stuff next. That's going to be a really helpful feature. It's funny, I'm not like super excited to go build it because it's like it doesn't feel like it's progressing usability forward at all. Like it's not like a new feature for the end user, like, so that's not exciting, but I know that it's going to help us. And part of the other reason I'm hesitating is like a lot of how the content is managed right now relies on those URLs for posting, and I need to go figure out if I need to switch everything to being like media resource IDs, if I need to have a hybrid approach. It's funny, the car put up the flat tire warning just now. What else could go wrong today? But it's like the PSI is like 1 off. So it's kind of funny because it shows which tire. It's like the back passenger side tire is low. It says low, not flat, so I apologize for misleading, but yeah, it's like 1 PSI lower than the other tire. Like, oh, that's fine, whatever. It's probably because it's cooler today. So blob storage, we got to get our TikTok stuff approved. So I think I mentioned this in one of the other drives in or drives back home, but the challenge with TikTok, this guy, you can't cross that. What are you doing? You can't do that, man. You didn't see it, but that was the illegal cross. Not cool. Do it in front of someone else, not me. Lost my train of thought. So, oh man, BrandGhost TikTok, there we go. So TikTok basically approved our app like instantly. It was like 4 hours, and we're like, hell yeah, because Meta was over a month. And we had to go make videos and stuff. But then we got it approved and nothing was working still. So I'm like, well, what the hell's going on here? And I researched a little bit more, and now you have to get individual permissions approved, just like Facebook. So we felt duped. So right now we just have to get that done. So one of the other guys has been doing all these submissions. But in order to make that happen, we just have to correct something in our auth. It's kind of funny. The OAuth is telling us that there's no expiration date. And maybe that's the case. Maybe there actually isn't an expiration date for the tokens on Twitter, or on TikTok, sorry. I kind of doubt it, but it's possible. So we have to go check that. because we have an assumption right now in our code that's wrong, and basically it makes it look like you're expired as soon as you authenticate. So we just got to clear that up, which will be a very, very quick fix. I just need someone who's been working on the front end to be able to tell me what data's there, and we're good. And then we'll submit to TikTok to try and get an approval. So that'll be good, get that out of the way, because all the APIs work and stuff. Well, that's not fair to say. We've tested them. It makes posts to TikTok, but the videos don't, they're just like empty, which doesn't make sense. But I've confirmed we're sending the right bytes over. So I don't know if it's just because it's in like sandbox mode, if it's like we're not actually going to post your videos, like that would just be a waste of resources or something. I don't know. So hoping that once we get the approval, there's no other stuff to mess around with. So crossing my fingers on that. Google was really quick to approve us for YouTube, but they have these stupid quota limits. I talked about this before for sure, but it means we can only allow across all of our users to post 6 videos per day, which I'm already going to have at least one of those, one of the 6. And I'm not even one of our real end users. So that's not good. So we request a quota bump, but that's been a couple weeks now. So we got to get ahead on that, because we can't really turn YouTube on for other people until that's done. So TikTok and YouTube are very close to being added to the platform. I had someone from my Discord community was asking about kind of like some project ideas, and I had mentioned like if they want, like something we need is going to be like Tumblr posting, Reddit posting. So they're playing around with that, which is super cool. I told them, like, and I like being transparent about this, like we're not in a position where we can pay anyone for stuff. We're not making money, so it makes sense that we would just go build these things when we're ready. Like Tumblr and Reddit are lower on our list of things to prioritize. Like we could totally survive without those. So I told this individual, this is what I'm working on. These are things coming up for us at some point. So if you want to, these would be fun things to try. However, there's no obligation that you need to share your code with us. Like if you just want to do it for the exercise, by all means, please do that, because I don't want someone to feel like they don't owe me anything. And I don't want anyone to feel that pressure. So if they want to share their code, they got it working, awesome. If not, still awesome. I'm glad that they're able to go and learn something about it, because I don't think people realize, but like OAuth, which is, I guess, like the standardized way to do authentication, just sucks. It's like every single provider is doing it differently, and it's infuriating. It's kind of like when I was doing digital forensics, we wanted to do like basically like Bluetooth device forensics, like in a general way. So I was prototyping something, and Bluetooth is a standard, but it turns out people do whatever the hell they want. Another fun fact, zip file format is a standard. You would be completely blown away by the number of like tools that make non-conforming zip files and the number of tools that just happen to support those non-conforming zip files. So you have zip files that get created in different tools that are technically not right, and then you have tools that support these technically not right zip files. So people don't even realize that they're using these zip files that are just like not good. Like the file format's wrong, and then you don't realize until you're putting it into another tool and it's not working. So standards are good, but like they're only good if they're being enforced. So it's a pain. So OAuth, I think, as much as I hate it, it's a good experience for people to go through just to understand, like, it's just not straightforward as much as I guess they tried to make it that way. So yeah, we'll have more platforms in BrandGhost soon. Onboarding stuff. I think the last piece it's missing is I just have to make a back-end API for our front end to call to do like a bulk import. And we have an API that works like this already, and it's very developer centric. Like I call it on Postman, and it's not really meant for the front end to use because I don't know how the front end was ever going to use it. And I thought that they were asking me if that was ready to go, and I was saying, well, I need you to tell me what you need from the front end perspective, and I'll tweak it, because like I said, it's kind of just been something I designed to import stuff off my desktop. And I realized this morning when I was talking to the engineers, they're like, no, like we don't need that API. We need the API that creates a piece of content that already exists. We just need that to support many entries. And I said, oh, that's that's so much easier. It's an array instead of a single item and then a for loop somewhere else. So that'll be good. I'll get that done tonight. Oh no. Oh my God. You see this truck that's beside me? All the wood on it. I said this the other day about people getting in front of trucks, right? I just watched a Tesla go in front of that big truck that just passed me had all these sheets of wood on it. It's like 2 trailers long. And I saw a Tesla get in front of that truck and then try to merge into the lane in front of me. And there's no spots. So instead of getting over, he's in front of this truck just braking. And I watched the truck come up, and I didn't think he was going to be able to stop. So that would have been pretty bad. Worked out though. It's good news. So this might be, I have to see, this might be the last day I drive into the office this week. I don't think there were other folks that were flying in that I need to get a chance to talk with. But I thought my PM that I've been meeting with had an offsite today. And I think that I confirmed that's not the case. I think they just said that they were sorry, I meant for tomorrow. So I thought he was going to be out tomorrow at an offsite, but I think he was saying it's just like a lunch or something. So I might still come in. The problem is that I do a lot of one-on-ones on Thursdays. So might be kind of silly for me to drive in and just be locked in a room and be on calls the entire time. And I have a lot of remote employees that I do one-on-one calls with on Thursdays, so I don't know. I might not drive in because it's not going to be worth it for me. Like literally just wasting an hour and a half to 2 hours. I'll hang out with you on this, but I feel like not the best use of my time. Come on, Porsche, go faster. You're killing me. You're killing me. Anyway, having a sour day so far. I'm just not not in a good mood. I have to turn that around for getting into the office though. It's easier to be in a bad mood at home because before I get onto a camera, I can put it on. But yeah, I don't know, kind of a lousy morning, and not because of the podcast thing, like that happens, right? It's just like that's a tiny little thing, and I don't know. I just feel like this morning I wasn't having a great morning, so feel like agitated, I guess is a good way to put it. And the problem, well, it might be obvious, but I'll just say, but the problem when I'm feeling kind of agitated is that everything keeps like perpetuating the agitated feeling. Usually how I overcome that is like if I'm agitated in the morning and I'm working from home, if I take a little nap, I just reset. So, you know, over lunch I'll take a, you know, whatever, I only need like 8 to 15 minutes to nap because I fall asleep very quickly, and that could be enough just to reset my mood sometimes. So I can't, well, I don't want to say can't do that at the office. I probably could. People might look at me funny, but so anyway, kind of like I don't have a parachute to pull from my bad mood, but I'll try my best. I think something like I've been practicing for a long time, right, is like I'm very introverted. You might not know this, but because you're like, hey, well, that doesn't seem right considering you're talking to a camera and vlogging and you're on YouTube and stuff, but like it's different. Like being around people takes a lot of energy for me. And for example, like tomorrow on my one-on-one days that are really heavy, at the end of the day I feel like I need to sleep immediately. And I always try to be clear about this. That's not to say like I don't like the people I'm talking to. That's not the case. I really like my team. It just takes a lot of energy from me. So going to the office is kind of similar, but I can't remember what I was trying to say exactly. I was exiting the highway here. I kind of lost my train of thought, but yeah, it's a lot of energy. Introverted. Like this idea of like practicing, like when I'm managing people, and I've been doing this for like 12 years now, I know that I'm introverted, but I don't like leaving people in a situation where they're like stuck with someone who like my natural state would be to be socially awkward, like just like I'm not going to talk. And I don't think that's okay in settings like one-on-ones and things like that. So I kind of have to turn on more of an extroverted persona, if you will, right? Like it's not fake, like I'm still me, but I just have to put a lot of effort into not like curling up into a ball and sitting in the corner just because it's exhausting. So I feel like I should be okay to not be a jerk to people. I like to think that. And the side effect of that, though, is like if I'm not in a good mood and I have to kind of like make myself be presentable in a good mood, then that's going to tire me out a ton. So we'll see. The reason that's extra challenging today, I don't know, I haven't talked about my caffeine journey too much. Maybe if I remember on the way back, I'll talk about this because it's kind of interesting. But I don't drink coffee, but I have been very big on caffeine for a very long time, and I still am. But I don't drink coffee. I have caffeine powder. The problem is that we finished all of the flavoring that I use for water when I add caffeine to it. We finished it like one day before our Amazon order shows up for more flavor. And not a big deal for my wife because she likes coffee, but it's a big deal for me because I don't, and I need caffeine. So I have this we had one thing that was flavored, and I have orange juice. So that's that little thing of orange juice. I'll hold it up again just because it's funny. But this thing of orange juice has 400 milligrams of caffeine in it. So Monster energy drinks in most places outside of the US, I think, have like 143 milligrams of caffeine. Or maybe it's just in Canada they have 143 milligrams of caffeine. And then like Bang Energy and Monster Energy drinks in the US, a lot of them have 300 milligrams of caffeine. So this little thing of orange juice has more caffeine than one of those drinks. I think a little can of Red Bull, the standard one, is like 80 milligrams. So it's 5 Red Bulls in that little thing of orange juice. And that's kind of like my current limit that I like to consume. This is going to be one of the worst parking spots. But at least no one can ding my door on the other side. You might see in just a moment what I mean. Oh my goodness. Okay, look at this. There's a wall. I don't want to talk badly about people at Microsoft, but I want to talk about the parking situation. Because I have never seen such bad parking in my entire life. Now, I can tell ahead of me there's a car who did this very smart. Sometimes people will park way over the lines, but they're doing it in a situation where the space is not usable. So for example, there's a Mustang in front of me who is parked way over the line, but what he's done, or he or she has done, is put their passenger door against the wall, basically, so that they can open their driver's side door. And it's a coupe, so the doors are very long. There's other times where I'm walking through, and it's in this parking lot in particular, it blows my mind. I see people that have just pulled into spots, random spots, and they're just not in the lines. And I can't comprehend how badly some of the parking is. So I'm sorry if you're parking at this building. There's statistically a lot of really bad parkers. Now, this spot's challenging for me because I got less than a foot and I have these long coupe doors, so it is what it is. But the person to my right has, I don't know how they're going to get in and out, so I'm kind of nervous about door dings here. But the person behind me has parked way over the line, so I can't even back into my spot all the way. But that's that. So time to go have a good day, be positive, and yeah, I'll talk about my caffeine journey on the way home. So stick around for that, and I'll see you next time.